Super Mario Odyssey, so I don't actually know what part this is. My timeline tells me it's 15, but I think that's a little bit wrong. So here we are finally in Metro Kingdom. We have all seen this by the ads, we've all seen this by the trailers. This is a pretty darn fun kingdom, and we're told by Mayor Pauline, yes, the very same Pauline from the first, I believe the first ever Mario appearance. I can't remember, Donkey Kong was the first one, right? Because we're in New Donk City, I think is what they call this, which is just kind of a... I think they were trying to make that like a Donkey Kong name, but it ended up kind of sounding dumb. I mean, New Donk, but hey, that's okay. They call it the Great Banana later on. It's pretty funny, kind of a play on New York, I guess. But anyway, I can't remember if like Donkey Kong was the first ever appearance of Mario, or if it was like the original Mario Bros, which was... It wasn't like Mario Bros. 1, that was Super Mario Bros. I mean the one where they're in a sewer and turtles come from the top and you have to jump on them and then kick them out, and you do that over and over again. I can't remember, it was probably Mario, or it was probably Donkey Kong, I think was the very first one, and then Mario Bros. Was the first time Luigi showed up, I think, but... Anyway, this is really going back to references to the very beginning, basically back in 1985, which is kind of crazy to think that that's, what, 20, 30 years ago now? Like, that is kind of... That's a long time ago. Anyway, so that is Mayor Pauline, the very same Pauline that you save in Donkey Kong, if you've ever played that. And she gets the whole glorious HD 2017 upgrade. And of course we have to go save the city for her, but we're still trying to save Peach, not so much get back with Pauline. So, here we're going to be taking over some tanks, which we've done before this level, and the tanks are going to be pretty darn important, especially for the ending of this video where we take out this gigantic centipede boss that ends up being the problems for all of the, or the source of all the city's issues. So first we're just going to come in here though, buy this shop moon, because remember every moon will, or every shop will have a moon. I keep swapping my words around today. And if you come back when you beat the game, these shops will actually have like 20 or 30 moons you can buy from them. So there's still 100 coins each, which means that for every 10 moons you buy, that'll be 1,000 coins, which is kind of a lot, although there are a few ways to get some coins pretty quickly. Really, the best way to get coins though is just pick up every coin you see, try not to die, and that's about it. At first, anyway. Once you get to the end, and then there's a few methods that I'll probably upload some videos about that show how to get some coins a little bit easier. And for the first time, I'm actually going to buy this outfit for Mario, and I thought, you know what? If I'm going to be going around this city, I'm going to want him to be inside of his fancy tuxedo with a fedora on. And it's a little bit jarring to me being in a game where there's humans as realistic looking as these guys inside of Mario. That's a little bit weird to get used to, but it fits surprisingly well. I was a little bit worried when they were advertising this game. I was a little bit worried about how the heck that was going to work or how it was going to feel, but I think they ended up making it feel pretty okay. I mean, all the important people still feel like they belong in a Mario game. Pauline looks very Mario-esque, I guess, if that makes any sense. And you can have the generic people. I guess it's really no different than having a bunch of Delfinos, which are some also very strange creatures, but difference was they felt like they actually belonged, you know. So I don't know about the human thing yet, but they did it pretty well, and I'm not too unhappy with it. So enough about that, though. Here we're going to be turning into a few more Goombas, and I think we're gonna need these guys for an optional star. Once again, the Goombas are one of the few things that consistently hurt me in this game. And the Goombas may not even be needed for a star, but there's a heart right there. And there's something all the way over here that I'm going to be getting to. It looks like those are just some extra blocks, but you can knock down this girder if you take over that tank and then shoot at it. And I don't think you need the Goombas for that. I think the Goombas were just for that heart inside of that block that isn't completely necessary if you already have full health, but later on you'll actually be coming back to this area once you kind of clear up this level, because everything you see you can visit again, and it's actually really cool. I like how they did this level because it's got all the rain, it's got all the darkness, all the power's gone. It feels like you're kind of in a failed place. I don't know, some place that's about to explode, I guess. But then you end up solving all the issues, and they did this pretty well. So here there's a couple of blocks that look like a stair step, and I was like, maybe I don't want to blow those up yet. So I don't actually know if there's anything up there. We'll find out here in a second. But for now, we're going to come into here and get the moon inside of the iron girder. And as you can see, we're going to need 20 moons before we can actually leave this kingdom. So we're going to be here a while. I think this one is going to take about 5 videos to get through Metro Kingdom, and that's, I think, one of the most videos that we spend inside of a kingdom. I know that we spent quite a few in the desert, and I think desert and this one are probably definitely the longest. The other ones, I'm not too sure yet, though I haven't edited all of them, so we'll see just how many videos those take. There are still a few longer kingdoms left, though, so don't get worried that everything's suddenly going to be really short after this. So anyway, if you want to, you can just come over here and throw Hattie at them and get all the coins, and there's a nice batch of coins for you to grab. That can help if you just need a little bit of extra to get something that you want to buy, I guess. And then we're going to head on back over here and try to work our way deeper into the level. So you can't actually blow up the cars with the tank, so you're going to need to get out of it and jump over them. And then if you notice, there's these stoplights here, or I guess they're crosswalk signals, and if you hit them, they are basically blocks. So some of them have a lot of coins inside of them, and some of them do not. So just hit them if you want to, but I have the hardest time hitting blocks in this game when they're above me. Don't really know why that is. It's just like really weird how tough it is, so I don't actually go after them too much. I'd probably have a lot more coins if I did that, but that's okay. So here there's going to be quite a few tanks, I think about 6 of them, and you can pretty much skip right over them and just kind of keep moving on over to that checkpoint, which it's always good to grab the checkpoint, but I'm going to just try to destroy these things. And of course, aiming with this tank isn't the nicest thing in the world, which you'll probably experience if you play this game, because the Switch does have motion controls. The controllers for the Switch, it does have gyro stuff inside of it, so it can tell where your hand is, but the issue is that it constantly gets off-centered, and you constantly have to reset it, because the Switch doesn't have a sensor bar like the Wii did, and the sensor bar could keep track of where your remote was, so you didn't have to reset it nearly as often. There were some games you had to, but for the Switch, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm aiming with that thing, the gyro just gets so off, and every 5 seconds you have to make sure that you reset the controller, or you reset the aimer so you're looking where you actually want to look, and it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit awkward. I don't really know why they put motion controls in this game, even though it is fun. I think I talked about this before. But the reason I'm bringing it up again is because there is, in fact, an option to turn off motion controls, and if you set that option to on, nothing happens. So I gave that a shot because I was a little bit tired of Hattie being thrown every time I set down my controller, or set down my Switch, and I turned off motion controls, and then waved my controllers, and Hattie still got thrown off. So, look, motion controls didn't actually get turned off. I don't actually know why that option's even there, or what it does, or if it's a glitch or what, but it's annoying when you try to set your controller down and then the game does something you don't want it to. I had this issue with PlayStation because there's no trigger guards on the R2 and L2 buttons, so you set the controller down on like a couch or a table, and it'll pause your movie, or it'll like go back a chapter in the movie, something like that, or in the game it'll just start firing randomly, or it'll exit the menu. I mean, I don't know why right now Xbox, whoops, hit my microphone there. Anyway, I don't know why Xbox seems to be the only one with a controller that doesn't do things without you telling it to, and it's really weird because I usually like Nintendo's controllers best, but for this game it is kind of aggravating when you just want to set it down and then, you know, stuff just keeps happening on the screen. Of course, you can solve that by pausing the menu. Luckily, motion controls don't exit the paused menu, so you don't have to worry about that. You don't get the issues that you get with the Sony controller. And the other issue while I'm complaining about systems, why the heck can't you turn off the notification on PlayStation 4 where your controller, when your controller disconnects, it brings up controller disconnected. You can't turn that notification off. There's no way to. So if you're watching a movie, about an hour into that movie, you get this stupid notification with a very loud noise, controller disconnected, and you're like, yeah, you don't say, I'm watching a 2-hour movie, of course the controller's gonna disconnect, why do you have to tell me this? Even if you turn all the notifications off, it still does that. I don't know, man. Anyway, so we are finally inside of a building here, and we're going to be working our way toward the top. But if you haven't noticed, that was pretty much the goal of this level up until this point, was just to, or for the whole video actually, is to kind of get to the top of the level. And we want to see why all the power is getting sucked away. And I did sort of spoil it, if that even exists for a Mario game. Sort of spoiled it just by saying that there's a giant centipede sucking all the power out of the building. And that's what we're going to be defeating in this video, actually, which is also why this video is a little bit longer. I think it's about 16 minutes long. So there's a few of those blue or purple coins that we can pick up, so make sure to grab those just so you don't have to come back here later. And like I said, Goombas, the only thing that are consistently hurting me in this game at this point. I don't understand. And then there's going to be a couple more purple coins over here, and if you long jump this, you should be able to make it, and then you don't even have to deal with those platforms that drop down when you fall on them. You can just climb up here and go all the way up, and you're good to go. So that's one way of doing that, I guess, but you'll want to wall jump up here so you can get on top of that pole, and I think there's a few more purple coins or another moon up here. I don't really remember. Let's see. What is up here? Looked like, was that a chest? Okay, looks like, yep, that would be another moon. So that's kind of cool to grab that too. Once again, getting all the secret moons if you can, just so you don't have to come back here later, because there are 20 moons that we have to get before we can finish the level, and as a result, there are, I think, over 80 or 70 total moons in this kingdom. And I have to say, as someone who recently 100%'d this kingdom, this was definitely my least favorite one to 100%, just because getting around Metro Kingdom is not that easy at first. It gets a little bit easier once you start to know the kingdom, but when you're new to it, getting around the kingdom, just learning it takes as long as finding all of the moons does. So it wasn't my favorite kingdom exploring, but it was a fun one, and still, for some strange reason, doesn't have as many moons as the Desert Kingdom, which I think has like over 80 when you beat the game. It's like an insane amount of moons, and I can't see so far any reason that you actually need every single moon for anything. You unlock pretty much everything you're gonna need by 500 or 600 moons, and you're gonna have tons more moons to unlock once you hit that number. So I don't know. I haven't totally 100% the game yet, so we'll see exactly what happens when that happens. Usually in other Mario games, when you get everything, you unlock some super secret world that's usually very difficult, and then you get a final moon, and it's like 800 plus 1, or at least in Super Mario Galaxy, it was like 120 stars, and then you could get one more when you do everything. And I think you had to beat it with Luigi too to do that, so maybe not though, but anyway, finally, with all that rambling, we are up here all the way at the top of the building, and somehow this guy got up here too. So this centipede thing is sucking all the energy, and this is going to be definitely one of the more creative bosses that we fought so far, and also probably one of the harder ones. Now, we only really have to deal with 2 cycles with him, 2 damage cycles, but at least in my experience, it's usually likely that you're going to end up dealing with more. And that's just because it's kind of hard to damage him enough in 2 cycles. It's usually pretty easy with 1 cycle, but as we see here, he's going to throw us off the building. And if this isn't enough proof that you needed to show that there's no fall damage in this game, I don't know what will be. And then he's going to jump on down, and you're going to be wondering, what the heck do I have to do? You see the tank, jump into the tank and just start firing away. So you're going to have to hit every single one of his open spots on his back, kind of like a Wriggler, I guess, or the Wiggler. Wriggler's the gum, isn't it? Anyway, kind of like a Wiggler, and he'll randomly shoot, or he'll randomly move his weak spots around, so you'll just kind of have to keep track of them, which is definitely where the aiming with the motion controls is kind of going to mess you up. And once you do that once, that's the first damage cycle. Now he's going to warp into a bunch of portals, and he's going to kind of lock on with the laser light and then exit out in a straight line. So all you have to do is wait for him to lock on, move to the side, and then you'll be good to go. So you have to do this quite a few times, I think 3, 4, or 5, some higher than I expected number of times, but maybe it was only 3, let's see. Does he do it another time? It might have felt longer. Okay, so he only does it 3 times. Interesting. It must have felt longer because I was, killing him at the time. But anyway, he's going to come out of a portal here, send some fireballs at you, and You'll just kind of want to keep moving to the left or the right to dodge those, and then all of his weak spots are going to open up, and you're going to want to do your best to hit as many of these as you can. But like I said before, it's probably not likely, unless you're a lot better at aiming at this than I am, that you're going to hit all of them at once right there. You know, it's totally possible. I'm not saying it's hard. I'm just saying first time for me, like I said, the aiming just throws you off a little bit. But anyway, point is you may have to just go through this cycle once or twice more. And as soon as you take out these again, then that's it. That's the end of this boss. And you may need to do a little bit of leading with your shots, but there we go. All you do is keep firing at him, and that is it. That's the end. Pretty, like I said, one of the more fun ones, one of the possibly more challenging ones, even though I only took 1 damage there. But I like that boss. He was probably one of my favorites. And that'll be it for this video. Once we get the star, and or this pack of moons, and then I will continue on in the next one.
Tommy do base. Muda minha cidade.